the carnivore diet. You're here for it, and I am thriving off of this lifestyle. So I've been doing many videos about carnivore, and I kind of drifted off on this channel a little bit, mixing up my topics, but I've seen that some of you all, if not a good majority, prefer the carnivore diet discussion, the intermittent fasting, and also walking. So just to dial this down, right, 90% of the battle for most of us is nutrition. And so I have dialed in my diet to the point where I just know what to consume, how much to consume, the portion size, and I very rarely eat in a surplus. Stay with me on this one because this can be a make or break for you in your personal journey, no matter what age you are. But for me personally, I think where the magic in all of this lies, and there's a lot of truth in what I say and do, um, is the fact that I am nearly 50 years old. So I'm 49, guys. And so I have intermittently shared this on my channel all across as many times as I can mention before I turn the big 5-0 in less than 2 months, is that you just don't get here and you don't have a story to tell. Otherwise, it doesn't complete you as a human being, as a person, as a soul, as a spirit. I have so much to share, but I think many people are very keen on, hey, what is your diet, guy? Like, what do you eat, man? You know, um, I really think and believe that every person's journey in the fitness realm is so different. So what works for me won't necessarily work for you. And there's so much on the internet. There's so much advice on the internet. Do this and do that and eat this and eat that. Most things being healthy, right? I'm talking about eat your fruits and vegetables, right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, and all of that stuff, right? And you have to test this out yourself to figure out what works for you by way of body composition and how you look, how your clothes fit you, or in some cases, as you lose weight and you strip out the fat, how your clothes fit you, right? That's all very telling. So there's two things: is your body composition, take before, after pictures, and then look at yourself in the mirror. You know, you can measure yourself with a tape. I don't do all that anymore. I used to, but this is where the carnivore diet has really uh, come up big for me in terms of progress, and quickly too. So when you dial into the carnivore diet, and carnivore diet really essentially is mostly meat. What you're eating is mostly meat. If not all of your diet, all your meals consist of protein, whether it's one meal a day, which I do sometimes, or 2 or 3 meals a day. You'll realize, and I'm throwing up some B-rolls of my footage, and not much has changed since you saw my first video last year on the carnivore. Your meals essentially become routine. It becomes the same, right? You're eating the same things day in, day out, to the point where you know you're getting the results, so you stick with it, which is why precisely when you see what I'm throwing up here, is that these are typically the foods that I go to when I know I need to instantly trim the extra layer of fat I gained by going out the night before. And typically a bad night or 2 bad nights, especially out here in Las Vegas, when I have visitors, right, you have to go out and socialize and meet family, friends. You know, you're gonna fall off a little bit. That week typically is a tough week because you crave sugar, you crave, you know, the bad food and the processed convenient food, and your sleep is messed up. So all of that kind of just defaults you into falling off a little bit. And so this is where I rebound really quickly and get my lean physique back, is because I know what it took me to get there. So this is another thing, is this is not about working out more, working out harder, your new fitness gear and this new gym membership, and they break it down into payments. You know, guys, I don't have a gym membership. I actually have most of what I need in my own place that I set up over the years. And I really buttoned up the home gym since 2020, right? When the lockdown happened, I had a lot of the equipment. I just organized it better. And I've always had a small gym in my place, which has boded very well for me. So personally, I think it's a waste of money in a gym membership unless you really have a good personal trainer and you are focused. I just find that I'm really distracted in the gyms, and I made a video about why I don't have a gym membership. But now coming back to this, you know, the smartest way to get the bang for your buck and to see faster results, and cash in on all the good work you've been doing, including walking, right? Walking also keeps you lean, is prioritizing protein, man. That's really the formula. And you'll see, right? The patties, the size, the portion sizes of every meal, it's like a pocket. It's like a palm of your hand. This is no wonder when you take a piece of salmon, it's so rich and fulfilling. I think each palm of protein, each palm of filet or salmon, it fluctuates anywhere between 17 grams of protein to a little over 20 grams of protein. And it keeps you very satiated, right? And it's so compact. You have to think in your mind, this patty, this beef patty is so compact. This filet is so compact. This chicken quarter is so compact. Like it's got a two-piece to it, right? But once you remove the skin and the bones, it's really compact, right? It's like spinach. It looks like a lot of spinach, but when you cook it, right, it just comes down just a little palm size, right? So similarly, now think of your body this way, right? Protein has its protein synthesis. It maintains your lean tissue, your hard-earned muscle. You're promoting, right, muscle growth by eating more protein. You're complementing your training because your body needs more protein as you age, as you get older, And till this day, guys, I am scared to put anything in my body by way of growth hormones, testosterone therapy, any of that supplements. And I know there's a time and place for it, but if you look at my beard, right, this is very thin. Like you just cannot color this white, okay? I just cannot go and make this color. If I had a lot of grays, I would just spend all day trying to make this black. This is natural, right? This is a byproduct of the lifestyle that I live. And I think it's a combination of not just the carnivore diet, but everything else I talk about. Drinking a gallon of water, taking 10,000 steps, prioritizing sleep at the same token, cutting off people that bring you stress, including friends and family, right? Managing stress and anxiety. I battle from anxiety too. So, and I don't hide that, but no one's perfect, right? I've been through stuff in life. Shit happens. And so I am a culmination and a representation of all life's testimonials and the battles that I've endured and suffered and allowed, right? But at some point, you have to cut all of this off, all these stresses. Back to diet, as before I digress. Protein is the best bang for your buck. If you prioritize protein, right? If you consume, if you get on the carnivore diet, you're almost guaranteed to be in a deficit. And that's what we need to understand when people talk about protein synthesis and protein intake. The general rule of thumb is 1 gram per pound per body weight, right? So, but in all actuality, even if you end up with 0.8, 0.9, right, and then some fats, you're still okay. Like you'll see some great results, and I'm talking about quick results. You combine this with a lot of water. I recommend close to a gallon of water every single day. Now you're going bathroom, now you're shedding, right? You're shedding the fat, you're shedding the bad weight, you're dropping weight quickly. And if you're someone that's not accustomed to this lifestyle, your body will experience a massive change, and sometimes it can be overnight. And that week could be your turning point in your fitness journey, right? So this is why what you're seeing on my B-rolls thus far is basically what I eat on any given day to break my fast, to supplement my training, and also to prioritize protein. And then also I am able to achieve at most times the desired body composition, right? Essentially, that's what we were after, right? As a byproduct. So losing weight and losing fat are two different things. During your fitness journey, if you're starting off, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to lose a lot of weight and some fat, right? So if you're 20% body fat, 30% body fat, for example, getting down to 16 to 18% should be relatively easy, because anyone can do that, really. Because that just represents just you not being conscious, you're not being knowledgeable, you're not making an effort, you're not consistent enough. I think most people can get to 16 to 18% body fat. Where the magic and where the real shift now starts happening, when you start tweaking things, is when you are trying to get to the most coveted range, which is anywhere between 10 to, let's say, 13% body fat, which is where I'm currently sitting at. So I have gone below 10% very few times in my life. I think 8%, 9%. But right now I'm sitting at a 12% body fat. So some days I can see my abs, some days I can't. And on the days I can't, when I strain, when I flex, then I can see a 4, maybe a light 6-pack. But what a great place to be, right? So this is why I'm saying, and I know I'm a culprit of what I'm preaching is I also fall off track. But then getting up to speed, right? And remember, I'm 49, guys. There's a lot of expectation on my head, and people just view me as this kid, right, or this younger man, right, that's able to do some athletically, capable things like martial arts and soccer, playing these sports at a high level, competing in dance battles, that they completely forget that I'm actually much older than my age, right? So it's almost like I fool people into thinking that I am actually a very young guy. But that's another illusion that this lifestyle gives you, is when you follow the carnivore diet, you get so lean, nice, neat, compact, the best version of yourself. You actually start appearing to look younger than your age, at least a decade or so younger than your age, which is why when you're at the store, people will give you that second, third take if they haven't seen you in a while. But they'll just look at you like you just seem very fit, right? You won't necessarily be a super ripped. You wouldn't necessarily be model-esque, right? But you will be a version of you that people will not recognize, and they would want to become like you. And I, even till this day, get what's the formula, bro? Like, tell me, what's the secret? What's the secret sauce? What do I need to do? How long will it take? Like, if you're in this for a short cycle, right, and thinking you can turn this ship around, the good news, you can, but it doesn't happen right away. And you have to be ready to fall off. You have to be ready to um, deal with the setbacks, the emotions, because willpower is fleeting, and not every day you are going to feel like staying, true to your nutrition. I wouldn't say necessarily training, because, most days I can knock out 200 push-ups every single day, and that's my training. Like, I got a nice pump from it. And I made a video on what I learned about doing 200 push-ups every single day and what that's taught me, right? Resistance training, a good session can last you anywhere between 25 to 45 minutes tops. I think after 45 minutes, I call it, because they say supposedly your testosterone just peaks and it just starts taking a spike. And I've actually felt it. I'm not just talking about it. Like, I don't get any more benefits training past 40, 45 minutes. And if you're doing weight training properly, that's about the mark. I mean, hour if you need to show off, right? But I don't even do heavy lifting, like ego lifting anymore, because I just have gotten the same results, if not better, than what I was before I got given my hernia surgery. So this has been quite the journey for me, right? So for me to hold on to this knowledge and not give it back is I'm not making the world a better place. So this is my way of giving back, and for you to discover the carnivore diet, how lean it can get you. In some cases, it can even get you ripped. All of this comes down to dedication, priorities, how motivated you are. I would also encourage you to start following your favorite athletes. That's what I do. In my case, Bollywood is a big influential, to paint the picture, big influence in my life. Movies, right? Acting, which I talk about on this channel. If you look at my playlist, acting life, auditioning life here in Las Vegas, Nevada, is I've grown up my entire life looking at beautiful people, looking at like heroes and the hot girls they always run away with in the movies, right? And this is also in Hollywood too. But Bollywood, there's also notorious bodybuilders and role models that I followed as a kid, thanks to my father that put me into all these movies and in front of television, martial arts, right? I've acquired just by watching and self-trained for many years before I finally had a few senseis that guided me through my lifetime, right? So here I am. So, folks, I'm going to jump to the next topic because I can keep riffing on carnivore diet and what this has done for my life. But hopefully what you're seeing is very helpful, music to your ears. And not to start the next video here, but stay tuned for my 6-month check-in mid-year review on 2025. I do this every year. On 6 months has gone by. Where are you in your fitness journey? Why aren't you where you need to be? And why are you heavier than you were from 3 years ago. And just to remind you that resolutions don't work, but it's the small changes and steps you take every single day, including walking, no pun intended, that actually get you to your goal. So think of the bigger picture, think of the long-term compounding effect. That's what it takes to win your health back and get the best version of yourself unleashed to and with society. Think about you showing up the way you do, your best version. You're making society a better place. You're setting an example at any age. And right now, I am winning. At this age, I look younger now than I did, honestly, at 35, maybe even 29. I've actually done a video. I'm going to attach some of the links here, somewhere up here, where you can check it out. And I talk about this and make those comparisons, okay? So, folks, till the next video, it's been a good one here on the carnivore diet. Prioritize protein. I'm going to jump on to the next one, okay? Mamba out.